This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
We are honored to have Ted Muszynski joining us here from Western Mass Hypnosis Center as the owner and founder. We're excited today to learn all that he's doing to help people really improve themselves and achieve success. And whether it's weight loss, stress relief, I mean, you may not even know, but creating confidence. And there's hundreds of things that hypnosis can help you with. And we're going to get to that today. But first, we want to meet our guest. Ted, how are you?
Great, thank you, Jill. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Tell us where you guys are located.
Our offices are located in Holyoke, Massachusetts, which is a little short distance from Springfield, which is about 90 miles west of Boston and 30 miles north of Hartford, Connecticut, if that helps people.
Beautiful. And when did you find, your company? And I want to get to your background before we talk about
Yep.
what you're doing. So why don't you give us a little bit of that walkthrough? Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you got into this field.
Well, I opened the office in 2006 after much thought. I
Hmm.
had worked for different people. I'd spent some time working for Tony Robbins, and I was trained
Wow.
in neuroassociative conditioning with him.
Wow.
And like I said, I worked for different people, and it just didn't seem right.
Yeah.
Um, I needed to put my money where my mouth was. Originally, I had, as a little boy, the age of 7 and 8, I had a lot of migraine headaches. They were really bad. A lot of vomiting, a lot of, you couldn't go to school for 24 hours, couldn't deal with light.
Yeah. Oh,
And I ended up at a hypnotist's office through my parents and one session, and within about a half a year, they were gone. So that inspired me to point my directions in helping people, and
mm-hmm.
I pursued it part-time, uh, probably for the first 15 years or so. And then finally, like I said, in 2006, I opened my office, and we just recently moved from our original location from West Springfield to Holyoke. And that's
Wow.
it in a nutshell. I could tell you more, but we are
Well,
limited.
this is great. This is great. So hold on, hold on. So clearly, Tony Robbins, you worked with him before. How did this happen? And tell me a little bit about him, because I'm sure he was a mentor to you as well.
Yeah, basically, when I got married, I really had a lot of insight just from experience. I was already 31, and um, it's not easy when you're going from a single man's life to
Mm-hmm.
a married man. And I started thinking about what my wife's needs were, and how do I adjust my behaviors. So I was interested in giving it my all, and I have. We're still married. It's 37
Mm-hmm.
years later, and but I came across Tony Robbins doing a 4-day weekend seminar in Boston,
Wow.
and I went, and it was transformational from that point on. I worked a few of his seminars across the country, and then both me and my wife studied under him in Hawaii for an entire month, almost 21 days. So it was the beginnings of understanding neuroassociative conditioning, which was really um, conceptual change from neuro-linguistic programming and so on and so forth. But that's the basis of the spark, if you will, and the results that you get from helping people.
Beautiful. And
You
that's
get
what
this.
you're here to do and what you're doing. And by the way, let me ask, I know you're in Massachusetts. Are you helping those just in Massachusetts, or are you able to work with people virtually with hypnosis?
Well, that's a really good question because I did the virtual thing during COVID, and
Yeah.
it brought people in, but it was challenging because until you remove people from their environment, their most familiar environment, people's comfort zones, they don't want to make changes. They get easily distracted in their own house, even if they're supposed to be in a room by themselves. The kids go banging on the door, the dog barks, etc. And so virtual can be done. We're doing it now, but it's not the same when you have an office and people come in and they spend time with you face to face. That's where I've seen all the changes,
Wow.
and that's what's worthwhile. And that was working with Tony's franchises in Worcester years ago. It was a Boston franchise. It was located in Worcester, Massachusetts. It was one-on-ones that really triggered my desire to help.
Got it. Well, this is fascinating because not everybody knows everything about hypnosis, and we may have heard some of the common things, which weight loss, stopping smoking, stress relief. Let's talk a little about those things. And a lot of people, though, I think with weight loss is huge because some people on the yo-yo diet. Let's talk a little bit about that. What's going on with people and how this can help them.
Well, one of the things that we're dealing with when you come to see a hypnotist, um, the way I was classically trained and as well as modern training with NLP and neuro-associative conditioning, is basing it on helping people to get past their emotional issues that they may have that are stopping them from losing weight. Yo-yo dieting does the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you chase it. It makes you,
Yeah.
if you ever rubbed elbows with people who've had success,
Yep.
certain things work for certain people, but not everything works for everybody. And that's true of anything as simple as a pair of shoes. So
Yeah.
one size doesn't fit all. In
Got it.
hypnosis, we get to know you a little bit and we spend some time trying to figure out what interferes. And sometimes it's just people, they don't want to put any personal effort in.
Yeah.
So they want it done for them. They want to get zapped, if you will. And we
Yeah.
have to overcome that and help them to start making lifestyle changes. But hypnosis makes it much easier because you don't have to think about it. It just pops into your mind when the suggestion does its work.
Mm-hmm.
But we
Oh,
can get in our own way.
tell us,
Uh,
tell us.
you're a professional in your
Mm-hmm.
career, and you found, if you look back at your career, you may have made a mistake or two in your life that you didn't really wish you had made in that
Quite a few.
profession.
Yes. Yes.
But from those, you learn and grow because you were willing to persist. A lot of people, they make one or two mistakes, they throw up their hands and they run away from that particular challenge. In this case, we're still talking about weight loss. So um,
Got
we
it.
we
And
help you condition the new behaviors in until they become consistently yours.
my button was sticking. So sorry.
Yep,
How
that's
long
okay.
does it take to do a session? How many sessions do people need?
The session amount varies from person to person. I've worked with some people who've had really great successes, 120, 160
Okay.
pounds of lost weight, but that can take anywhere from 9 months to a year. Others are you know these people, they exist in every profession, in your profession as well. They want to chew stuff up and spit it out. They want to just keep going, and they're voracious in follow through. And they do really, really well, and they can crank something out in 6 weeks, 40, 50, 60 pounds, no problem. But not everybody's like that. So you have to tailor the program to their needs, the individual needs, and then work with them and get them to keep showing up and following through. And uh, hypnosis makes all that follow through way easier because the person doesn't have to think about it
Mm-hmm.
while they're living it. And you know
Okay.
what's going to happen anyway. So,
Oh my goodness. Well, it's designed, as you say, to really help someone. And this is amazing because I'm sorry, but there's a lot of weight loss drugs now people are doing, lots of side effects. I had a friend who was taking the shot of, I don't know which one it was, but one of those weight loss shots, and he
yes,
he got a detached retina at 46, and he's like, "What?" And it was one of the side effects. He didn't read about it, so he's my neighbor, and we're
sure.
like, "What? Let's try these non-invasive ways first." Yes, diet is great, right? But some people can't do that. Hypnosis, my mother, when she was alive, did this for smoking too. And that's another
Yes,
area that you work in as well. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
sure. Smoking is one of the easier habits to break
Okay.
because as much as the hype on television and
Yep.
radio is that it's addiction, it's really
Mm-hmm.
not. It's a physical um, habit that is more dependent on the body movement of your hand to the mouth, cigarette smoking part, and it's a misconception of the need for oxygen and deep breathing versus shallow breathing.
Yeah.
So you'll notice some people are shallow breathers. You being in the realm of an
Yeah.
acting career, you were taught how to breathe so that you could maintain a certain state. State
Yeah.
management was Tony Robbins' major focus using it. He was a
Oh.
hypnotist to begin with. And state management is quickly accomplished by two major actions, your actions as a person. Number one, your physiology.
Okay.
What is your body posture? That's the
Yeah.
quickest way to change your
Oh gosh.
state.
Yeah. Making me think now.
And
Yeah.
I don't mean your posture at the
No, but
moment.
it's two.
Look at any
I
person.
forget. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. And then because of comfort zones, but also your mind focus. So if you can get people to move in a more effective way quickly, they'll notice the change, and then their breathing increases. When a person breathe, if you notice, let's deal with a person who's a
Mouth breather.
one pack a day.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so they're doing a cigarette every 45 minutes to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And about the last 15 minutes before they actually step outside to light up, because that's the world we live in today, you can't
Yep.
smoke anywhere, right?
Uh-huh.
They start to get antsy. And when they get antsy, they don't realize that that's a form of anxiety that's being
Oh my
caused
gosh.
within them.
Yep.
And when they go outside, if you ask them to mimic for you
Uh-huh.
the breathing that occurs when they light up a cigarette,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually two or three deep breaths.
Oh my
And then they
gosh.
feel good. And then the anxiety starts to go away and they give it credit to the cigarette. And it can't because it's a caffeine is nicotine's kissing cousin, and they are anything but relaxants. They're a stimulant. So they can't make you feel that, but the misassociation
But
occurs because nobody knows or they're
mm-hmm.
not taught. And instead, if they go outside and take five easy deep breaths with a three count in
Yep.
between, what they'll end up getting is the same relief function in their body because of their body posture change from sitting at the computer for an hour, or half an hour. And instead of
True.
giving the power to the cigarette, they are giving it to
Mm-hmm.
what the oxygen is supposed to do anyway. And you're going to get the oxygen whether you smoke or not, because
Interesting.
there's only 16%
Yeah.
oxygen in the air. So whether you get cigarette smoke and nicotine and tar and all that stuff going in you, or just take a clean, deep breath and hold it for a few seconds and then push it out, five of those in a row, standing up,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden now you're getting the relief and you're feeling better and you're going, oh, I got that. And it didn't even require a cigarette in my mouth. So that makes it
Wow.
easier for people to
Sure does.
accept it because some people are afraid of letting habits go. You understand that, you know that as people. People, we put little fears on all kinds of things of change. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I want to change. I don't know if I can do this. Doubts pop in. So when
That's
you have to reassure people.
yeah.
You have to reassure them of what they're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
part of that is just explaining the misassociation that they've been making with cigarette smoking, that it's overcome them and it's a thing that they should, it's like, I don't know, let's use a term like a big dog.
Yeah.
People are intimidated by big dogs, so you see people own little dogs nowadays, right?
So true.
Well, they start thinking that for some reason the the cigarette smoking is too hard for me to quit or it's too big. We have to start thinking that we're way bigger and better than the habits or problems that we're trying to overcome.
Got
That's
it.
the challenge that we have.
Oh my goodness. And all this, by the way, can be customized, as you say, to your budget, right?
Yes.
There's also, let's talk about what the pandemic when that came, because I feel like everyone got anxiety and stress. We always had it, but I feel like everyone talks about everyone's stressed, everyone's anxious. What can hypnosis do to help us in this department and how?
Well, stress relief programs are wide, and
Okay.
there's many different variables. You're dealing with anything from like a minor phobia, for instance, a mom who's got kids and they want to go to Disney and she's afraid of flying.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a hard thing to break, but say that to the person. So they come to me or people like myself in the profession and they break that habit and they get to fly with their kids peacefully and calmly down to Florida. On
Wow.
the other hand, you can go as high and as far and wide as PTSD,
Mm-hmm.
which involves, as you know, not only policemen and soldiers or firemen and EMTs, but women
Mm-hmm.
as well who've been assaulted in their earlier days of their lives. And they're carrying this and it's manifesting in places in their lives. But everything in between, stress related, anxiety, what's causing it? We have to find out the basics. It may not always be a particular incident, maybe just the way a person relates to life. For instance, if you speak, again, I'm going to relate to your profession. If you speak negatively to yourself about the upcoming, let's say, interview or a tryout for a part, um, you're going to flub it. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to really get your mind in order into the positive side of you're going to do this right, you're going to
Yeah.
do well, and your
Mm-hmm.
confidence has to be up, or else you can't sell yourself to the
So
producers that you're
true.
the one who should get the part.
So
So
true.
everybody has that challenge, but it could be in being a good mom, or it could be in being a driver, or
Oh, yeah.
whatever function they're doing. So stress relief is again variable because some people only need 2 or 3 sessions, and some people need a, a long time, 6,
So
8,
true.
maybe 15 or 20 more. PTSD, for instance, takes time. It takes a couple of years to get people through it.
Got
Think
it.
about if you ever get a chance to talk to people who work in rehab centers where soldiers who've lost a limb or two are being
Mm-hmm.
retrained. They have to go through a certain amount of psychological training before they actually even attempt to give them and have them wear that prosthetic.
Yeah.
And this is they got to get them to believe again, to believe and say the words to themselves that they can do this, that they're going to be okay, that their life is going to continue and they're going to be able to do it well. Once they get that done, well, everything changes.
Yeah.
Now the prosthetics can be introduced. Now they can, as you can see the commercials on TV with the kids or the young men running with those springs on their feet.
Yeah.
They used to have a leg and now they have a spring off their knee, and it's like a C-shaped spring, and they're doing full-blown sprints in races. I mean, that takes time to get that person there, but it can be done, and you have to believe you can do it. And so in anything you do in life, if you don't believe you can do it, you're stopped right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me also ask about a lot of us, I think everyone's insecure. Gosh, people act like they're overconfident. They're usually the most insecure, to be honest with you. But that's
Mhm.
also something, it's hard sometimes to get that job, to make that move, to be that brave and bold. Confidence is something that we all lack at times, and
Yes.
some people a little more than others. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Confidence training is a big part of the business because that's where it begins.
Yeah.
Um, and it takes a few hypnotic sessions, usually 2 or 3, before people start seeing a change in the way they approach life because they have a lot of limiting beliefs that they're not even aware of. Some people are aware of them, most people are not. And we have to help them to adapt new beliefs
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
are pertinent to what they're trying to accomplish
Mm-hmm.
and get them to replace those old beliefs with the more effective coping stances or adaptations to life, if you will, that give them the courage and the power to take action.
Yeah.
Uh, you might remember public speaking, and well, public speaking is still one of the most feared things for people in the United States. They fear it more than death. And you've heard this one when you
Oh,
first
yeah.
in your profession,
Oh, for
and
sure. Yeah.
all the different tricks that were created over the years are partly hypnotic suggestions and tricks.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going to stand in front of a crowd, the corny ones, about seeing them in a particular way. But that's the beginning of it. That's the beginning of understanding as a person that this is nothing but something that I created in my mind. In other words, the
Mm-hmm.
fear. And now I need to replace it with something that's going to get me through it and be more effective. What's the easiest thing in the world to say to somebody who's lacking confidence? Oh, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Foundationally, that's absolutely accurate. But they
Mm-hmm.
don't think their self is good enough for this particular position
Yeah.
that they're going after. And so we have to help them motivate and step up and believe that what they're going to do is possible. When you believe it, you'll do it. If you don't believe it, you won't. You'll crash and burn.
So true. Oh my goodness. And clearly, by the way, I also want to talk about some of the clients you've been helping. I read some amazing testimonials on the website about the work you've done. It's always good to share, what people are saying. For example, if I could just pull up one or two, like for stress relief, for example, let's say they're on YouTube. I don't think I could play it on here because then, but anyway, there's a guy that was, well, give us some examples of people that have been helped by you, if you don't mind.
Well, there was a young man who has if you're looking at the videos that I'm thinking of,
Yep.
is a young man with a beard
Yep.
and dark hair, and he is a day trader,
Mm-hmm.
and he's very young for a day trader, and he's trying to get the courage, coming to me to get the courage to take certain risks.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff. He can recite the what we would call the logical, mathematical reasons for why the particular steps he wants to take will take
Mm-hmm.
and will be worth it. But then he has little moments of panic. And beyond that, I can't say much more, but because everything's HIPAA law protected. But whatever he says in the video helps you to understand that this was a courage factor for him and that he needed to actually execute and do it calmly and without getting nervous and having personal reactions to the nerves. And so we get him to be more peaceful or more comfortable with the decisions that he makes. And isn't that what maturity is all about anyway? Being comfortable with our decisions and moving forward. I keep looking down at your picture because the camera's over here.
Oh, it's
I
okay. It's
keep looking
okay.
down because I do this with my daughter
I
and the
know it's
wife.
hard. And it
You
depends where
know,
everyone is. Yeah.
so she's always going, Dad, your eyes are looking down. I'm like, I forgot to look at the camera.
That's
But
okay.
that's the general idea. When you're talking about with people, you have to find what their challenge is and help them to alleviate that one challenge. Then it'll be like a domino effect. When you destroy one limiting belief by helping them to see a better way, it'll cause a domino effect, and more of their other limiting beliefs will also fall because of that one, because of the one they came for help with, and they're not even aware that that will happen. And then they'll come
Hmm.
back to you a few weeks later and say, I did this, and this was
Hey.
the yeah, yeah. I got up the courage to go skydiving, and but you came in for something else. And it's like, well, that's the way it works. If we can get rid of our limiting beliefs, even the ones that are most important to us at the moment, we will be more willing to take action with other things that in the past would have been like, no way, I wouldn't do that. Is that making sense what I'm saying?
It does. And I mean, what people don't realize, I mean, that this is, I'm not going to say an old modality. It's been around a while,
Uh-huh.
but the fact it's been helping so many over the years and it's still going strong. Like there's fad diets that go in and out. There's, remedies for stop smoking, patch this, that. But this is one that seems to be time in, time again, working. And let me ask about some of the other things that we may or may not know. What else can hypnosis help people with that may shock people?
That may shock people.
Yeah, not like physically shocked, but like be like, wow, what? That could help with that?
Um, I'll tell you one that a lot of people are not aware of.
Yes.
So today, a lot of people are sick,
Mm-hmm.
and the caregiver isn't aware that they can go to a hypnotist and be
Uh-huh.
given a boost and a different way of looking at, because some of these people are caregivers 24/7. I don't mean
Yeah.
a professional, yes, those two, but I'm talking about the wife who's got the sick husband and she's taking care of him, or the other way around. And they just get exhausted. I had a friend of mine who took care of his wife who acquired dementia. And for 3 years, he
Oh.
was her only caregiver. And
Mm.
she went down to being almost like a newborn. Let's leave it at
Wow.
that. And finally, he got her into a nursing home. And then about 7 years later, she passed away. But just that stress on him, he said the only thing I had time for was once a day, his neighbor would come in and take over for a half an hour while he went and walked the dog and ate his lunch. Once
Oh
a
my
day.
goodness.
And this woman needed 24/7 because she'd wake up in the middle of the night as well. And she was a grown woman, mother, etc. Um, it's unfathomable until you see these people and until you see how they can be helped. So a lot of people won't turn to hypnosis if they have such a challenging demand on themselves, and yet you want to think about anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to have anxiety 24/7. You don't want to
Mm-mm.
be, you want to have some kind of relief. And that's one example that a lot of people aren't aware of.
Yeah,
I hope that's a good one for you.
that's a good one. But even like PTSD, people that suffer and stress jobs, right? I mean, that's
Yes,
another.
absolutely. Um, any job. Years ago, I had a client, a young lady came to me. She was 27 years old and she was trying out for the New England Patriots cheerleaders.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just a nervous person when it came to being around people who are scrutinizing her
Yeah.
and taking the tests. You know, you have to do a physical performance. She could do it all, but
Yeah.
she didn't want to be nervous. We help a lot of people with, and I've helped a lot of people in nursing exams, promotional exams for police and fire. When you're trying to go from uh,
Yeah.
getting your broker's license, some people are very poor test takers,
Mm-hmm.
but they know their stuff,
Yeah.
and you have to help them to get to a place where they are confident, and
Mm-hmm.
the test taking is just as simple as combing your hair or getting dressed in the morning. It has to be that easy. It's not the test. It's you already have the knowledge. What are you worried about? Oh, they're worried
Yeah.
about the clock ticking away and how
Mm-hmm.
is this question being formed and blah, blah, blah. Thousands of things that have nothing to do with the knowledge base the person has. So these are aspects of how hypnosis can be used in many different functions.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? There's also, I just want people to realize that hypnosis has been proven time and time again to work. And for those that may say, well, do I have to go back? Do I have to upkeep on it? Is that depend on the person or?
Yes, it does
Okay.
depend on the person because we have different study habits and we have different follow-through habits. So, for instance, we even give audio tracks to people, as many hypnotists do, to keep listening to them for quite some time, anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months after their sessions are completed, so that it can continue to condition in the new behaviors to make them their own. So, think of anything that you do well today. Remember, there was a first day you did it, like driving a
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to think the way you thought when you were 16, learning how to drive a car. You
Yeah.
just say, I'm going here. Got it in my head. I grab my keys, I grab my wallet, and off I go.
Yeah. Oh my
But
goodness.
how did you get that way?
Yeah, right?
You live in New
Yeah.
York City or nearby, you learned how to drive in that crazy traffic. Okay. So it's second nature to you. But nothing that anybody does well
Yeah.
is done perfectly the first time. We all make
Mm-hmm.
mistakes. So now, what are we doing? We're conditioning into
Mm-hmm.
new behaviors through repetitive sessions, and then you adopt it and make it your own. Follow through is the most important thing.
Got it.
If you don't practice it, I think of sports. What do kids get from coaches when they're in high school and college? They're
Mm-hmm.
shown a particular way they're doing something, and
Yeah.
they're showing how to approve that something. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the coach tells them to go home and practice it. Why?
Yeah.
Because conditioning will occur through repetition. This is a driving force. Now, hypnosis makes
Mm-hmm.
that repetition easier and it makes it happen on its own. Some people take that out really well and they're really going to follow through to begin with. So
Yeah.
it's like second nature to them to just follow through and get it done. And all of a sudden, they just ask you know, any professional golfers in your world?
No, I don't. I don't. Not at all. Sorry. I don't.
Okay. Ask any of them if you ever get a chance to chit chat with one of them. Ask them how many balls do they hit a day. They'll tell you anywhere from 500 to 1,000.
Wow. Wow.
Okay,
I didn't think about that.
that's practice.
Yeah.
Ask
Holy
basketball
cow.
players, how professional basketball players, how many hours do they spend on the court each day,
Oh my
and so on
gosh.
and so forth. You don't get just you don't you can have a talent, but you need to hone it, skill it, or as Brian Tracy used to say, sharpen the saw. You need to put some effort behind it to make it work and
Yeah.
make you stay at top of your game, or
Hmm.
else it'll wane, it'll come down. Like, for instance, the antithesis to this, or the opposite of this, is learning how to ride a bicycle. Once you get it, you never forget it, right? But when was the last time you rode a bike?
Oh God. 3 weeks ago, I did.
Okay, but you might know people who haven't ridden a bike in
Oh,
15, 20 years.
absolutely. My sister being one of
But
them.
on
Yeah.
the other hand, if you put her on a bike tomorrow in front of you, within 15, 20 feet, she'd be right back to it.
Absolutely. You could pick it up like that. Yeah.
That's right, because you don't forget that because it's so simple. But then sports, as an example, is way more complicated than that because you're mostly, especially team sports, you're playing against individual opponents one on one. So,
Oh
like, take
my
a
gosh.
basketball player. He's always got a technique he's got to develop, or she, that has to deal with what? The opponent and how to get around them
Yeah,
and
exactly.
make the shot.
Ah,
That's the key, and it's always different. So they practice it because they never really know what a particular opponent is going to do to try them knock them off their game. So this is
oh,
a continuation of it.
oh my
Follow
goodness.
through is required for almost everything that we do that's worthwhile in our life, or else we get
Beautiful.
dull. We
It's
get very
true.
dull.
I agree. Well, I got to thank you for being here. We have to go. We're actually over time, but we had such a good
Oh,
conversation. Let it go. That's fine.
yeah.
I want to
Thank you.
thank you again for being here. Now, would you mind telling us how we can contact you?
Yep. The phone number is 413
Hmm.
397 2699. The website address is westernmasshypnosiscenter.com. We're
Any social media pages
available.
as well?
I'm sorry.
Anything on social media we can find you there?
There is a media page on Facebook,
Okay.
but I don't have any others. I've not relied that much on it, but I'm starting to.
That's all right.
This podcast is a beginning towards that.
Well, don't worry.
Um,
We'll just Google you. We'll find it. Don't worry. We got you. Thank
there
you
you
so much
go.
for being here, for joining us, and looking forward to next time. And yeah, good conversation. Thank you so much for enlightening us and me and teaching us some stuff. Thank you. Have a great day, hun.
Thank you
Bye.
for your help. Take care. Bye-bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.